Hi, it's your mortgage guy, Dave Steinberg, back with the Mortgages Made Easy podcast. And I'm so thrilled to welcome Ben Brasier. Ben is an expert on reverse mortgages. He's with Finance of America Reverse, and they are one of the largest players in the reverse mortgage industry. Ben, what should a financial advisor know about reverse mortgages?
Financial advisors should definitely know at least a little something about reverses. There was a time where they were viewed a little bit differently, but I think that the industry as a whole is kind of waking up to how to really utilize a reverse mortgage as a tool, part of a clever clever retirement plan, I should say. In the past, people had thought that the idea with the reverse would be to pull out as much equity as you can and give it to the financial advisor to go invest for you. And you can do it that way. But I think what is a little bit more compelling is using it, the line of credit function or feature of the reverse to provide liquidity and agility to help combat sequence of returns risk. So what I mean is the line of credit you get from a reverse mortgage is superior to a HELOC for somebody who's retired or entering retirement. And the reason is that the line of credit, for one, is guaranteed to the borrower for as long as they hold up their end of the bargain. As long as they keep living in that house and paying their property taxes and insurance, the line of credit will remain intact. Whereas with a HELOC, the bank can take the line of credit away from you whenever you really need it the most. If your property value goes down, if the economy gets too scary, if you mess up your credit or your income becomes disrupted, that HELOC could go away. But the line of credit in reverse is guaranteed to the borrower, no matter any of those circumstances occurring. So that's nice.
I can vouch for that. Back in 2008, we had a largely untapped line of credit with a major money center bank, and they shut me down. We had a lot of value in the house. My home value was not affected. Income was good. My credit was not changed. They just decided they didn't want to be in the home equity mortgage business, and they shut it down. And so if you're advising a senior and you're saying, well, in the event of an unforeseen circumstances, you can always use your home equity line, there's a risk there.
Right. And with a reverse mortgage, those risks do not exist. Okay, now the idea with using it as part of the financial plan is a forward-looking thing. Okay, and we're in a perfect market to demonstrate this right now. So, and forgive me that I'm not a financial advisor and I don't play one on TV, but I have a limited understanding of how a reverse applies in this situation. So if you've got somebody who is, let's just say, has $1 million in their 401k or in their retirement account, and they're going to be withdrawing 4% per year to live on, right? So they're going to be selling off and pulling out $40,000 a year before taxes every year, no matter what's happening in the market, because the person needs that money to supplement their lifestyle. So in a down market like what we're experiencing lately, if the borrower were to sell off that $40,000 at a loss, if they had to do that 3 years in a row, it can be really harmful to the rest of their retirement journey. It can be impossible to recover from that loss during normal market performance, and they would end up having to reduce their standard of living. They would have to live on less. Okay, so having a reverse mortgage, what they would do is they would not sell at a loss, not ever. Okay. If the market is not what they want, they would instead pull that $40,000 out of their reverse mortgage line of credit and use that to live on. The reverse mortgage has no payments due, and so this doesn't change, their monthly cash flow. And they can leave those funds invested with the financial planner, and then those funds can participate in the rebound when the market comes back. Whereas if they were to sell at a loss, that opportunity is gone and that loss is locked in. So reverse mortgage borrowers will never sell at a loss ever during their retirement journey. And when you have that ability, it completely changes the picture for what kind of inheritance they're going to leave, what legacy they will leave to their kids. the idea is that they're not going to pull out as much equity as they can with the reverse, but they're just going to use it strategically in order to supplement the rest of their retirement plan and make it much more bulletproof by doing that. But I think that's a really exciting way for people to use reverses.
And if I remember correctly, there was an article in the FPA Journal about December of 21, something like that, just on this topic, written by Phil Walker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Phil Walker is a very smart guy. If you get a chance to check out the webinars that he puts on for our brokers and our financial planner and their financial planning partners, it's must-see TV, if you will. He does a much better job of explaining it than I do. I've seen his presentation, and I'm parroting it the best I can.
Okay, Aaron, let's take that last sentence out. We don't need to. He doesn't need to be falsely modest. So Ben, I'm going to put a link to that article in the material, and we'll put it up on the screen. This is such great information. When you look at a senior, someone in their 60s, who in this market with the threat of a recession and all this stuff going on, one of the things that strikes me is that someone in their 60s who's forced into early retirement really has the possibility of making bad choices, right? Because once you turn on Social Security, unless you reverse it very quickly, you're going to be drawing at a lower rate. And that's a perfect use for a reverse mortgage, isn't it?
What, supplementing the Social Security income?
Well, instead of drawing, okay, so let's do that again, Aaron.
Okay.
Hey, Ben, one of the things that I'm seeing in my marketplace is that a lot of people in their young 60s are worried about losing their job. And the prospect of having to start drawing on Social Security at 62 or 63 is really unpleasant, as you guys know, because it means that for the rest of their retired life, they're going to be taking a diminished payment. How can a reverse mortgage help them in that instance?
Oh, great question. Great question. You could do it a few different ways. Okay, so if this person has a mortgage that they're going to be paying on for some time, right? The first thing the reverse will do will be to pay off that mortgage and eliminate that monthly payment, from their cash flow. And so by doing that, you can continue to work if you want to continue to work, and you could be putting the money that you had been paying towards your mortgage, you could be putting that into your retirement account instead. Particularly once you hit your mid to late 50s, you're allowed to put in more than everyone else is and do the kind of 401k makeup, and putting your mortgage payment into that, not a half bad idea. Another thing you could be doing is you could be making that payment on your reverse mortgage. Okay. Now, we all know there's no payments due on a reverse, but it doesn't mean you're not allowed to make payments. And there are some really interesting reasons to do so. So any payment that you make on your existing mortgage, right? You've seen your statement, some of that's going to go to interest and some of that will go to principal, right? And it's only the principal part that is reducing the amount owed. But paying down the principal on your existing mortgage isn't doing anything for your cash flow, right? When you make a payment on your reverse mortgage, 100% of what you pay goes towards your balance. Okay. It's not like some is interest and some is principal. It all goes toward the principal, and it all goes dollar for dollar right into your line of credit. Okay. So if you're paying $1,500, $2,000 a month on your existing loan, and you're seeing that you're knocking down your balance by half of that, see what it looks like on a reverse, because you'll be knocking your balance down by 100% of what you're paying. Plus, it all goes right into your line of credit so that if you need that money later, it's at your fingertips. The other cool thing, as I mentioned before, the line of credit is guaranteed. It's not a HELOC. It's far superior for a retired person. But the line of credit gets a guaranteed tax-free growth rate. Okay, and this is kind of a strange idea. This is the only place in mortgage world where compound interest works in the borrower's favor. And so the available balance in the line of credit, including any payments that you might voluntarily make, the available balance in the line of credit is growing at the same interest rate that you're paying on the money that you borrow. And so what you'll see is that as month by month, you'll see significant increases in that line of credit, particularly, if you look at it at a wider scale, you'll see your line of credit will double like every 12 years or something like that. So my particular plan in this regard, I will still have a mortgage balance when I turn 62. I'm going to get my reverse mortgage on the day after my 62nd birthday. Okay. And I'm going to have a line of credit, probably something to the tune of $300,000. Okay. Which is fine. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let it sit there. I may make some voluntary payments into there. But what'll happen is by the time I am 75, that will have doubled. It'll be 600,000. By the time I'm in my early 80s, it will be well over $1 million. Okay. This is guaranteed. This is tax-free. This has nothing to do with home value appreciation. It's based only on interest rates. Okay. So then when I'm in my 80s and I want some in-home care, I'll be able to afford it. I'll be able to just tap my equity month by month and pay for what I need. And to me, this is way better than the idea of, paying for long-term care insurance and hoping I can continue to pay until I need it, and if you need it for something else, it's there. You can tap it. You can start a business. You can help your kids go to college or whatever it is you want to do. But it's all there, and that growth is guaranteed. So I think that's super cool.
And just to reiterate what you said, one of the key points about reverse mortgages is that whatever you draw, you're drawing tax-free. So it's not, let's say, like taking a $20,000 distribution from your 401k where it's taxable. Here, if you're taking a draw out of your reverse mortgage, that draw is not taxable. And so that gives you the ability to fine tune your cash flow.
Exactly. You can make it be exactly what you had planned it to be, to the penny.
What's the role of a financial planner, financial advisor in explaining this to their clients?
So it depends, they might be getting into investments, right? But they might be talking well beyond things like investments, like paying for long-term care, or maybe right sizing. Very often, like the house that I live in, right, that I'm raising my family in, is probably not the house I'll retire in because there's too many stairs. Okay, for one. And I'm not going to need so many bedrooms when it's just me and my wife living here, right? I won't need to pay to heat it or maintain it. And so very often as we approach retirement or after we've begun it, people realize that, it's time to sell the family home and go move into something that is a little more appropriately sized, right? And so there will often be some surplus cash that comes from that. They may use a reverse mortgage to purchase that right-sized house. So discussions like that, I think, are a fine thing for the financial planner as far as branching out beyond, what's happening in the stock market. But yeah, the funding of long-term care, that's something that we're all going to run into if we're lucky enough to live that long. But really just understanding how the reverse provides the safety net and the liquidity and the nimbleness, to be able to not pull not sell when it's not to the borrower's advantage. They've got to be awake, not asleep at the wheel, to see when those times are. And maybe it's the borrower that would make that call. Go ahead.
One of the things you referenced was when a senior decides to right size, maybe sell their house where they have lots of equity. You have someone in their late 60s, maybe mortgage may be paid up or all but paid up. They're going to sell their home, and now they're going to have a big flow of cash. And then they're going to buy their next home. And most people would just take the money out of the sale of their existing home to buy the next home. Well, sometimes there's a timing issue, and therefore that's something that advisors have to be on top of. But the other issue is that it may not be the best use of resources to use all of the money that they're netting out of the same sale of their home and putting it into the next home, as opposed to, let's say, putting 50% down and getting 50% from a reverse mortgage. And now there's more money in their rainy day fund, in their, frankly, there's more money for the advisor to guide them.
I look at it in a similar way, you know, somebody who is selling the family home and ending up with, you know, let me back it up. Somebody who's selling the family home and is needing to buy something that's, you know, their next move. They've got a couple of options, right? They could potentially buy that place for cash. They could sink all that money into the equity of this new house, okay, and have none of it left over. They could put down 20%, right? And they could get a conventional loan and they could make payments for the rest of their life, you know, or they could, as you had said, do a reverse purchase. They would put down something like 50% of the value of the house. The reverse covers the rest, and then they're keeping 50%, you know, for their use during their retirement. And if that means, you know, giving that to the financial planner to do something smart with, you know, that's a great way to go.
Thank you so much for your wisdom. Any parting words?
Yeah, I think that it's a great time to be looking into getting a reverse mortgage. You know, FHA just raised the max home value at the beginning of this year to a bit over $1 million. So people will, with, you know, homes that are valued more than that, will be qualifying for more than they had in the past. You know, rates are very good still. It's not the lowest of the historic lows, but we're still in a really good spot for it. And I would say this: get your reverse mortgage as fast as you can get it. Okay. And here's why. Your line of credit gets guaranteed growth. Okay. Your line of credit is going to be doubling approximately every 12 years right now. So the sooner you get your line of credit moving, the sooner that doubling is going to happen, right? If you wait until you're 85 to get your reverse, that's just that much more time that you've been needlessly paying a mortgage payment. I would say also that we all work very hard in this life. Okay. We've all delayed gratification for most of that time here. And we've told ourselves that when we retire, we're going to do what we want to do. Okay. And that's what reverse mortgages do. We put the gold in the golden years. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's something that I take a lot of pleasure in, is helping people, you know, go out and grab those dreams and get those things that they said they were going to do and make it a reality, you know, and you don't have to wait forever to do it. You know, you can do it now.
What resources do we have available for financial planners who want to advise their clients?
Well, we've got the webinars put on by Phil Walker, you had mentioned. And Phil, for you people who don't know, was the keynote speaker at the Financial Planners Association convention earlier this year. He is becoming more and more well-known in the industry. Definitely check that out. On our website, we have what's called Illustrator, and that's where you can go and dial up various reverse mortgage scenarios, and then you can tweak the knobs of the future and show, like, what does it look like if property value starts going down in the future, or if interest rates go up or down, or what does it look like if the borrower makes strategic withdrawals from their line of credit in years 1, 2, and 7. You know, you can really just get into the weeds and the particulars and dial up very specific scenarios that are very useful for that type of planning.
Thank you so much. So, guys, if you have any questions about this, if you have any client that's interested in exploring reverse mortgage, give me a call. Happy to discuss it with you. Happy to work the technology with you so you can see how it might work for your client. This has really been a pleasure, Ben. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Good talking to you.